Hey, Nichole Huntsman, your astrologer from moderncosmic.com. Okay, we're going to talk about Moon-Saturn inner aspects. So this is, not super romantic and exciting, I suppose. This is Saturn, which is our planet that has to do with restriction and rules and limitation and duty and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Saturn is also the planet that rules commitment. It rules time and gives us longevity, and it gives staying power. Now, the question is, with a Saturn-Moon relationship, is it a relationship that you want to have staying power? Moon traditionally, of course, rules Cancer. Saturn traditionally rules, one of the signs it rules is Capricorn. Now, Cancer and Capricorn oppose each other when you look at the houses. Right? Cancer's the 4th house, Capricorn's the 10th house. So there is this sort of traditional mother-father, wife-husband thing happening with these two. So you see in a relationship, it does bring out this sense of duty, this sense of obligation, traditional relationships or traditional relating, which can be good with certain people if their chart is built in such a way where they have a healthy relationship to Saturn. But if you've got someone who's got some issues with Saturnian relating, then that's when you run into problems, when you run into trouble. The moon being the heart, of course, the emotions of one person, Saturn being sort of the limitations, the responsible grown-up part in another person. When they're making aspects, let's say we've got a conjunction here, the moon person may feel in a sense sort of supported by and in a sense protected or watched over by the Saturn character. Right? The Saturn person may feel a sense of duty and obligation to the moon person. And so the way that this sort of plays out is you can have a relationship where this really is a binding, it's a glue. I like Magi astrology, they talk about this as being a captivation. It's the word that they use, which is kind of, their thought is that the person who is the Saturn person has some sort of control or dominion over the other planet person, which in this case is the moon, over that moon person's, and in this case with the moon, over their emotions, over how they feel. And that they're this Saturn person, if they so choose to use that control in a way that's negative, they can really hurt the moon person. And you have a relationship many times where I'm actually thinking of a couple that I know that have been married for a very long time. And I think to myself, do you guys even like each other? They don't even seem like they even like one another's company, let alone they've been married for, 30 years or something. And I suppose being married for 30 years in general it's not an easy task. And so Saturn is great in that it can help, especially if it's a flowing aspect to the moon, because it can give a sense of endurance and durability and longevity to the way these two people interact with one another. So let me give you a concrete example. Let's say, for example, the Saturn person comes along, activating that moon person. Let's say you've got a moon person whose chart's got a lot of your Uranian stuff in it, and they're kind of flighty, okay, kind of a flighty individual. Now, perhaps though on their house of 7th house of marriage, let's say they've got Capricorn there, and so Saturn is naturally something they're attracted to in a partner. So this person comes along with some strong Saturn, with their Saturn aspecting this other person's moon, or it could be this person's moon aspecting our flighty person's Saturn, either way. But I prefer if it's their Saturn, because let's say their Saturn's aspecting this, no, actually, their moon. Let's say their moon, sorry, my gosh, I need my coffee. Their moon is aspecting this flighty person's Saturn, okay? With that aspect, this moon is going to sort of, in a sense, bring out the Saturnian qualities in this flighty person. They may feel this sense all of a sudden that they need to grow up a little bit, that they need to sort of help take care of this person, or they need to commit to this person, or they need to, be duty-bound in some way to this moon person. So what's interesting, though, is the moon person will feel, as the Magi folks say, will feel a captivation to this Saturn person. And I have seen this, and it ends up being one of these things where the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. That's a very Saturn moon, Saturn sun relationship dynamic. And a lot of times people will stay and they'll work through things with someone, or they won't work through things. They'll just stay and be miserable, but they'll stay for the long haul. Saturn, remember, is also the same as the god Kronos, who ate his children. He's the father of time. And that's what Saturn is. Saturn is this father of time. Saturn reminds us that we will die one day. It's the reality of our mortal existence. So when someone's making aspects to your emotions and your heart, it's sort of like the moon person also be acutely aware of all of their emotional stuff. It is an aspect that can bring out vulnerabilities. And the moon person can feel like they need to sort of straighten up and not be emotional, or not, you know, kind of be a little more grown up about how they're reacting to something, rather than going back to their typical patterns. So it can be good in that it can help, the Saturn person can help the Moon person break out of old patterning. Sometimes depends on the sign placement, actually, but it can also be one that can be, with squares and oppositions, it can be one where it creates a relationship that's unhappy. It's just one where emotionally the Moon person in particular feels misunderstood, or they feel critiqued, they feel judged, they feel like what they're not, there's an unlovability thing that happens, feeling like they're not, either not getting enough love, or they're restricted from giving love the way they want to give it, that flow is blocked, you know, that emotionally things aren't okay. There's not that easy flow. There's rules and restrictions and constraint placed upon how they emotionally express themselves. So, you know, again, it can be but it can also be this weird, bizarre sort of masochistic thing for the Moon person, where they want to prove themselves to the Saturn person, and that's where you get these captivations from. It's this working really hard to try and earn that love from that Saturnian person when it's maybe never going to come. But the Moon person keeps trying and trying and trying, and so this is a hard cycle to break out of, and that's why there can be glue in these relationships with the easy or the hard aspects, interaspects. So let me know your thoughts if you've got this in a relationship. Also, it should be noted, if you're someone who has strong Saturn aspects to like your luminaries, or if you're someone who has a strong Capricorn, maybe you've got a Capricorn moon, maybe you have a strong 10th house, then probably Saturn contacts for you are going to feel familiar and comfortable, and actually where you prefer being. You probably would prefer a relationship that has some good, strong, healthy Saturn in it, because that's going to reflect who you are anyway. So let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.